All right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this series of online lessons. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and live a life for this lesson. Now, in today's lesson, we're just going to look at how we can solve each of these questions on this paper. So the first question asks us to express these numbers into fractions. So these are decimal points, as you can see, and we want to express them in this form, A over B. Here where A and B are integers. Integers are simply counting numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, -1, -2, and so on and so forth. So what should we do here? Okay, so I'll put examples, then we'll answer these questions. And what you have to note is that these questions that are here, all of them, they have a bar there. Okay, meaning that they have a part that is repeating. So that bar there symbolizes that the number that has a bar is repeating. So for instance, 0.3 bar means that this can be written as 0.33333. And this 3 is repeating all the way to infinity. And we could manipulate this in our own liking and write it as 0.33 bar. We can do that because the 3 is still repeating. So 0.3 bar is the same thing as 0.3333 all the way to infinity, or we can write this as 0.3. We write one of the terms, then we write the rest of the terms that are repeating like that. Okay, another example would be if you have 4.59, then the 9 has a bar. So if the 9 has a bar, means it's the 9 that is repeating. So this can be written as 4.5. Then the 9s are repeating all the way to infinity. Or we could also write this as 4.5. We write one of the 9s and we write the other part as repeating like that. So it would still be the same thing. Okay, so another example, maybe you have 0.325, and these are the two numbers that have the bar. So it means that the two fives are repeating. So this can be written as 0.3, then you say 25, 25, 25, and so on and so forth. Or we could also write this as 0.325, one of the two fives, then write 25 bar. Okay, now you'll see later why we can write one of the terms, then write the term that is repeating again, because it will help us get rid of the terms that have the bar, and that is the general idea here. We want to get rid of the bar part. Okay, because if a decimal didn't have a bar, so suppose it was just 0.3, well, converting this into this is very simple. Into this fraction, you just say any number that doesn't have a denominator has a denominator 1, and you just move this decimal point. So we want to move this decimal point 1, so it means we multiply by 10. Even down here we do the same by 10. Then we say 3 times 10, that will be 30, and this times that will be 10, like that. So if there is no bar there, it is easy to convert into fraction. But when there is a bar, it means that there are things that are repeating to infinity, and you have to get rid of the bar to find the estimate value of that number that you are trying to write in fraction form. Okay, so now let's look at an example similar to this, then we'll come back to that. Okay, so suppose you want to convert 0.4, or we start with I'll say 4.5 bar. So we see that the 4.5 is the one that has a bar. So we want to convert this in the form A over B. So the 5 has a bar. Okay, so what we'll do first of all is we'll let x equal to the number that we've been given, which is 0.45 bar. Okay, then what we want to do is we want to move the decimal point to just before the bar there. Okay, so in this case, since the decimal point needs to move one step for it to go just before the first number that has a bar there, so it means we need to multiply both sides by 10. So if we multiply this side by 10, we're going to have 10x equal to, we multiply this other side by 10 as well. So 10 times 0 0.45 bar, this would be 10x would be equal to 4.5 in bar. Okay, so this will be your first step always. So if there is a number there, then there is something that has a bar. First of all, try to move the decimal to where the bar is at the end of the decimal point. Okay, so as you would see in this question, there will be no need for us to move the decimal, because the decimal is just before the bar. But in this case, we'll have to move the decimal 1, 2, so we'll have to multiply by 1,000. Okay, so this is the first step. So after the decimal has moved to just before the one with the bar, we call that your equation 1. Okay, you call that your equation 1. Then what you do is you get the same number which you've been given, which is 10x equal to 4. So we'll write the repeating number once, 5, then we write 5 again with a bar. Okay, so yeah, so you do that. Then you want the decimal now to move again close here to just before the number with the bar. So for it to move, it means that we have to multiply both sides by 10 again. So when you multiply this side by 10 and this side by 10, you would have 100x is equal to 5.5 bar, and that would be your equation 2. What you do is you get the equation with the biggest number, you write it on top like we have done, then you subtract from it the first equation that we made. So in this case we say minus 10x equal to 4, so equal to 4.5 bar. This was your equation 1. Then you subtract the 2. So here 10 minus 100 minus 10, that will give you 90x. So 90x would be equal to, here you subtract this and this, that would be 0. So 5 bar minus 5 bar, that would be 0. Then here this will give us 1. Then here this will give us 4. And we can just divide by 90 this side and by 90 this side. And we have our x is equal to 41 over 90. And that is our answer, basically. So let me run you through the steps. So step 1, you get whatever question you've been given. You let x equal to that question. Okay. Step 2, check if the decimal is just before the number that is repeating. If it is not, you have to move it there by multiplying in tens. Okay, so like in this case we had 0.45. We want the decimal to be just before the repeating term, so we multiplied by 10 like that, and we had 10x is equals to that. So if we've achieved that, if the decimal is before the number that is repeating, we call that equation 1. Okay, then on equation 2, you have to write the repeating number once like we have done. So we write 5 once, then we have to move again, the decimal needs to move just before the number that is repeating. So again, in this case, we are multiplying by 10. So we write 10 this side, it will give us 100, and this side multiplied by 10 it will give us 45.5. Then you call that equation 2. Okay, so you have to follow these steps for all questions and you'll be okay. Then here you subtract 100 minus the equation 1, whatever. Then you simply make x subject to a formula and you are done. Okay, let's do one more example. So hope you have understood that one. So here we said step 1, let x equal to the number that we've been given, which is 0.3 bar. Excuse me. So 0.3 bar. Now we need to ask ourselves a question: is the point just before the repeating term? Okay, so in this case the point is before the repeating term, so we can call this one as our equation 1. Okay, equation 2 will come from us writing the value, the x, then we'll write 0 point, then we'll write the term that is repeating once, then the second time we write a bar on that one. Okay, then again we'll have to move the decimal point to the term that is to the term just before the term with the bar. So this would require us to multiply by 10. So we multiply by 10 this side, then just here we multiply by 10, this side we multiply by 10. So this will give us 10x is equal to 3.3 bar. So again, just before the bar, so we call this equation 2. Then we subtract equation 1 from equation 2. So equation 1 here has an x equal to equation 2, that is 0.3 bar. Okay, so subtracting that, so this 3 bar minus 3 bar, that will give us 0, no need to write it. Here we subtract, this will give us 3, equal to, we subtract here 10x minus x will give us 9x. So we make x subject, we divide by 9, so this and this will go. X will be equal to, we can simplify this, 3 can go there 1, 3 can go there 3. So this is 1/3 as your final answer. And you would find that when you punch this on your calculator, 1 divided by 3, you get 0.33333 like that, and you're done for the first one. Okay, let's look at the second one now. Okay, you can pause if you want to go through, you can rewind. The second one, so we let x, you can try this one by yourself, then you can compare the answers. Okay, so the second one, you let x equal to whatever you've been given, 1.132 bar. So we see that the 2 part is repeating, so we need to move the decimal point. The decimal point needs to move just before the repeating term, always. So you need to check, is the decimal point just before the repeating term? That is where you're going to make equation 1. So for the decimal point to move to just before the bar term, would have to multiply by 1,000 because we have 1, 2. So I mean by 100, 1, 2. So we multiply both sides by 100. So we have 100x will be equal to, this side will just move to be 113.2 bar. That. So that is your equation 1. Again, you follow the same algorithm for equation 2. You will write the term here. So you write the repeating term, then write the other term with the bar. So in this case, we have 100x is equal to, we write this as 113 point. The repeating term, we write it once. Then the second time, we write it with a bar. And from here, we make sure that the decimal point moves to the number just before the bar there. So for us to do that, we have to multiply by a 10. So if we multiply by 10 both sides, so by 10 this side and by 10 this side, we are going to have 1000x 1000x equal to 1132.2 bar. Okay, and this will be equation 2. Then you subtract equation 1 from equation 2. So equation 1 is this right here, which is 100x equal to 113.2 bar. Then you subtract the 2, so 100 minus, or 1000 minus 100, that will give us 9x equal to, here we subtract, so this when subtracted 2 bar minus 2 bar will give us 0. So here we just do the normal subtraction. So here we can get 2 there, we put there, we say 12 minus 3, that will give us 9. Then 2 minus 1, that gives us 1. Then 11 minus 1, that gives us 10. And we just divide by 900 this side and by 900 this side, so that the x is alone. So this and this goes, and you have your integer there. That would be 1019 divided by 900. So if you want, you can further simplify this, but basically that is what you do and you're done. Okay, so that is how you express any number into a fraction. Okay, you can try the following questions that I'm going to write. So number 3, you will say 2.14 bar. So the bar is 2.14. Then number 4, we can say 3.213 bar. That. So you can just try out these questions, then we'll see how you have understood this. Right, so now the next question is question B here.